Hello, everybody, and welcome to another MerlinCast. It is I, Merlin, sometimes known as Joe. I've got a guest with me sitting directly across from me, the living room, my temporary studio, is Dan.
Hey, guys.
Which we kind of, I guess Goblin is off the table because Troll was supposed to be your thing. Not going to be your moniker, so you're just Dan.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's fine.
In high school, because of the short stature, I was called Troll. So but you already have a Troll.
I know,
and I don't know.
It's like
you want to give me a nickname so badly.
It's only because I think a lot of people that come on the channel they play D&D, so there's always like a fantasy vague sort of thing. So I want to give other people, but other people that don't know about that, they're just like, I'm Dan, I'm Justin, I'm Nathaniel, I'm Peter. It's like. I mean, it's fine, but like, it's not quite as fun. I don't know.
All right, well, maybe I can come up with a nickname that leads into our first story.
Maybe. You know what I like? You've been Dan so long.
Yeah.
The people that listen probably know. You should maybe you could be like Dan something. Like Dan the something. Dan,
okay.
That kind of like a nightly quality.
Yeah.
Just food for thought for later. But basically, everybody that's listening, we are going to do our thing, talk about some movie, show-related things.
Whenever I come on, it's usually movie-related.
To be honest...
We've come up with a variety of things today, though.
A lot of different things.
Yeah.
And, to lead off with, you joked about it, but I have no idea where this is going to go. Our first topic is what? Related to the Spice Girls.
Okay,
I don't know.
So I think I should have some kind of a spice name. That'll be my moniker. Something spice. I'll have to think of it. We were just sort of spitballing ideas.
Yeah.
And I sort of off the cuff said, we could talk about the Spice Girls movie that's coming out
again,
which you didn't know about.
No, I don't know. No.
Apparently this was just announced within the last day or two. We know Spice World. That was the great 1997 film.
Yes.
So they're in talks now with I guess Universal or something to do a animated film.
Oh.
Sort of. You know how? Okay, so Spice World was sort of like Hard Day's Night. So I assume the animated Spice Girls movie is going to be more akin to like a Yellow Submarine.
Okay.
Kind of. I don't think probably as trippy, but but everybody's back.
Oh.
All five are going to be a part of it, I guess. Because the one hasn't been in the group for a while.
Okay. Which Spice?
Posh.
Oh.
Which is fine because she can't sing. But see, I saw them on the one reunion tour.
Okay.
This was maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
And so they came out, they played all the hits. By the way, they opened and closed with the same song.
Really?
Spice Up Your Life, yeah.
That's awesome.
But in the middle, to I guess give the girls a break or whatever, they just did solo numbers because most of them had solo hits and stuff in the UK.
Mix it up, okay.
But Posh, Victoria Beckham, she just doesn't really sing that well, so she just did like a catwalk model kind of thing.
Okay.
And didn't sing. I think she was lip syncing the whole concert, actually. To be fair.
Well,
but
all right.
Okay, so it's actually through Paramount, not Universal.
All right.
But so they just reunited again for the reunion tour, and so Victoria Beckham's not on the tour, but she said, "Yeah, hey, I'll be involved in this if I mean, animation. It's not like." They're going to film a new movie. They're just going to go in a recording studio and...
Pretty low stress, probably.
Pretty low stress. I've heard that there's going to be a mixture of new songs and old songs.
Okay.
Which they haven't recorded new music in, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years.
Long time.
So, I think for America, maybe it's not as exciting as it will be in England. Yeah. But I'm a fan.
Are you excited for that?
Yeah.
Is it,
I really am.
Is it going to be focused more towards kids, or is it going to be for everybody?
It hasn't stated, but I mean, Spice World was rated PG. I think that was very universal for everybody. So I would imagine it's more of the same. I don't think it's going to be blue or anything.
Is there enough of a fan base that's calling for this animated Spice Girls?
And that's what I don't know.
It's kind of like some of the things we've seen that have come out recently. Like, was it Gem and the Holograms? They thought there was a big hit.
Yeah, they thought that was going to be a big hit, and it was one of the biggest bombs of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole nostalgia thing.
Is it going too far?
It's just hard to pin down.
Like what is...
And this is what I love about your show, Merlin, is that we come up with some seed of an idea that we know no information about, and then we go off on 8 different tangents.
Well, I love
because here's the thing.
growth of discussion.
Well, I do as well. But like for every nostalgia thing that works,
yes,
like let's say Stranger Things.
Sure.
Okay.
Amazing.
Huge right now.
Oh yeah.
Season 3 is about to come out. Everybody's big on it.
So excited.
They're doing the Coke ads because they're bringing back new Coke in honor of it.
Mm-hmm.
But for everyone like that, that was just so organic. Like nobody knew. Like Stranger Things didn't come from something.
True.
So it's that idea of like, well, this was just a hit kind of on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see, all the reboots and all the, there was a horror one that just came out. Oh, Pet Sematary.
Oh, yeah.
Which now I never saw the original.
It's not bad.
It's a little scary,
decent movie.
probably, but I saw the new one.
Sure.
And I thought it was okay. I gave it a C+.
Lithgow, right?
Lithgow plays the Herman Munster character.
Uh-huh.
And what's his face? I forget the dad, but he shows up. He was in like Zero Dark 30, and I forget the actor. Jason Clarke.
Okay.
He plays like the dad. But from what I understand, everybody that enjoys the original like hated it.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything good about it.
Yeah.
Really.
So so I think okay, great. So the Halloween reboot a couple years ago was good and people enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But now do we have to reboot? Child's Play is coming out in 2 weeks. It's like we're rebooting everything for nostalgia purposes because it's a brand name.
But the weird thing about something like Child's Play, which we're already dovetailing here, but I like it.
You're right.
Child's Play, the thing that I think that's strange about something like that, you're right, that's a reboot, that's tapping into a popular nostalgic thing that hasn't gotten a lot of spotlight. Mm-hmm. But Chucky's been getting movies for years. He hasn't really gone away.
Yes.
He had
Chucky
DVD,
has been fairly popular for years.
But he hasn't really gone away enough to really be nostalgic about. You know what I mean?
Yes, and that is true, I guess.
They're sort of pretending like that's not really a thing, though.
But I mean, you said it though. It's mostly been on DVD releases. I mean, he hasn't had a big movie
probably in 20
in a while.
30 years.
I mean, I sort of liken it to like a band or something, or a musician that comes out with has a huge hit base from let's say 15 years ago, still is releasing songs here or there, independent albums, nobody buys them, whatever, and then all of a sudden they go for some big radio push. I was just reading an article about the genesis of the Santana record with Smooth on it, and how it's sort of goes with this theme. He was big in the 70s, early 80s maybe, hadn't had a hit on the radio in like 18 years or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's getting all this push from, oh no, you'll like this, it's got Rob Thomas on it, whatever, and it turned out to be this, as we know, one of the biggest hits ever.
Yeah.
20th anniversary, by the way, of that song.
Oh.
I just read a big article about it in Rolling Stone about the genesis of it. It was very interesting, but it's that kind of thing. It's like Chucky. Okay, they've always been making Chucky movies.
Kinda, yeah.
But like, nobody really sees them because they're direct to DVD, unless you're an uber Chucky fan.
Hardcore fans, yeah.
So I think it is sort of a case of like, well, let's bring it back and I guess test the waters. But it's like,
how well is it really going to do? Like, to be honest, another weird thing about Child's Play that I have very mixed feelings about, because Brad Dourif voices Chucky.
Okay.
He's still alive. He's still around.
Right.
That's like the thing he's probably best known for.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be in this one.
Oh, he's not?
No.
I didn't know that.
The iconic Chucky performance voice isn't going to be there. Weird move. You know what they're going to do to replace him, though? It's Mark Hamill.
Well, he's good as many things.
Voice acting is like
voice acting.
Creepy Joker laugh. Like,
right.
I think that's amazing casting, but why?
But why do it?
In the are they not
name
confident
recognition?
Yeah, because maybe, probably. And I was like, I'm okay with that choice, but it seems like an interesting move.
That is a very interesting move. I didn't know that was happening. I guess I had sort of heard through the grapevine about Mark Hamill being involved in it, but I didn't realize
he's Chucky.
I didn't realize he was Chucky.
Yep.
I think it'll be interesting to see. I don't think anybody's really talking about it.
No, I mean, I've heard a couple people saw the trailer like, ooh, like that looks cool, but even those people aren't like gung.
Well, okay, and let me tell you an anecdote from, my professional life.
Sure.
I work at the movie theater, and granted, we're a second-run movie theater, so we don't always get all the posters right away, and all the different styles of posters, etc. But every week I call for posters. And this Child's Play movie is coming out in 2 weeks? Next week, something?
Pretty soon.
We still haven't gotten any posters for it. And so the other week I called and I said, can we have a Child's Play poster? And the lady said, oh, no, it's for bookings only.
Bookings only.
And what that means is if your theater has booked the movie, they will send you a poster. But if it hasn't, they're not going to waste the advertising dollars to send it to you, which tells me they have no confidence in the film.
They have no faith in it.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what it tells me. Whenever I get told, oh, it's for bookings only,
they want to know.
Usually the movie bombs.
There's already tickets being sold for it already. They're
usually the movie bombs when they say that.
They're not going to advertise it to a different theater.
Right.
Interesting.
Which I think is odd because in this day and age of Redbox, Netflix, on demand, all of that stuff, even if the movie theater never gets the movie, just if you're going to see Endgame or Wick or something and you see the Child's Play poster, you might be like, oh, I didn't know they were making another Child's Play. And then in 2 months when you see it at the Redbox, then you rent it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think any how much does it cost to ship a poster? $4,
Yeah.
I feel like
some good old-fashioned marketing that the poster's going to be there for weeks and weeks.
Right.
So
if they're not sending posters to theaters that might potentially not play it, it's like that to me tells me that they're not confident in the film anyway.
Wow, okay.
So there's that. But I mean, we see examples of this all the time. I mean, think about the Muppets, right? The Muppets with Jason Segel.
Yeah.
The Muppets never really went away.
No.
They're always doing advertisements or, whatever.
True.
But yet it was hailed as like the big comeback of the Muppets, because it was their first theatrical movie
in a long time.
10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's a good point.
So with the Spice Girls movie, I mean, who knows if there's an audience for it?
I'll be honest, I kind of feel like Spice Girls is another one of those things where there is an audience, probably a hardcore.
90s nostalgia is so huge right now.
90s nostalgia is big. But it's also kind of, I'll be honest, I would liken that to, wow, that's weird to say because how big Transformers is and stuff, but like He-Man. Like when the He-Man movie comes out, He-Man's pretty darn popular, but even if a movie came out, I don't know if the audience would be that big for it. Like hardcore, I don't know. It seems a little too niche for hardcore.
Well, and He-Man I think is going back too far. I think 80s nostalgia is over.
I think that's ending?
Yeah, because look at every TV show that's getting rebooted. They're all 90s shows. Let's reboot Full House and Frasier and Roseanne and X-Files and Twin Peaks. It's all 90s.
Yeah,
Murphy Brown.
You might be right.
So I think the sun maybe has set a little bit on
80s stuff
on the He-Man. Although
I hope that
we were talking about Ghostbusters briefly before we went on there. People seem to be interested in a new Ghostbusters, and that's
Ghostbusters
80s. But right, I
that's
feel like
timeless.
That's its own. You're right. That's its own tier.
Well, now you make me. I just hope the He-Man movie's good. I don't even care if it does well.
When is that coming out?
I don't know. 2020.
They're making another Addams Family movie. You know
that? Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool.
It's cool, but I don't know why they don't have Christina Ricci playing Morticia now.
What is she doing right now?
Nothing.
Oh.
Nothing.
I haven't seen her in a long time.
No.
Monsters. Probably
they have Rami Malek playing Gomez, which I think will be great.
Okay.
But
that's a good choice.
Still, I think they should have. She was so great as Wednesday.
Yeah, she was.
But there again, 90s. Obviously, originally 60s, but I mean... But the movie franchise.
Yeah, no, you're right. Maybe it's transitioning more into 90s nostalgia.
Yeah.
You might be right.
Because that's the age of the people that are running the studios. Is they're all in their, 30s. They grew up on all the, the Nickelodeon stuff and the,
That's why, you're right.
TGIF.
The kids that grew up watching it grow up and start making the stuff.
Right.
That's another reason nostalgia's happening. And why... Power Rangers got a movie again.
Yes.
Why Samurai...
Bad movie.
But kind of bad.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Banks was good in it, though.
Elizabeth Banks was my favorite part.
That's Rita Repulsa.
Yeah.
She was hemming it up. It was great. But Samurai Jack, I'm convinced that that was a really popular show that we were waiting for a movie or something for like 10 years. I never thought Samurai Jack was ever going to come back. And that's one of the cool things about living in the age we are. It's like this stuff can be, so much can be possible.
Yeah.
And we got a fifth season that was fantastic.
Well, and there's so many different avenues now. We always talk on your show when I'm here about the streaming formats and platforms. It's like there's
Amazon,
there's so many of them. It's like, I mean, it's just a producer's and a director's wet dream.
Like,
just to,
it's like if you're a filmmaker,
the possibilities are endless.
If you're like a bunch of amateur filmmakers who have an idea, a dream, and you can get your audience to say, hey, we want to make this movie for this group of people, and you got a fan base that'll invest in it. It's possible.
When you think about how hard Kevin Smith had to work in 1994 to make Clerks a reality, it's like,
the game has changed for independent films.
Oh, absolutely.
Much. It's kind of cool.
So yeah, anything like this, as long as you can get the rights to it, from the studio or give them the green light or whatever. Yeah, you could make it
potentially, and they might be low risk for a studio. Like, okay, we'll get our cut of the profits, but you can fund it yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe especially like you said with things like Kickstarter, they can plainly see, okay, there is a fan base for this,
and someone else is doing all your marketing and all your legwork for you anyway, funding it. Like, it's kind of brilliant. Yeah, it could be brilliant. It's kind of evil for studios, but well, it's a good, easy way to do it.
They do.
It's true, but smart.
Yeah.
But anyway, wow, we got a lot of the Spice Girls.
We always do.
This is why I'm never worried. Like, I had a plan originally. Like, no, we're gonna spitball. We're gonna talk about some news, and we go to interesting places.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to run out to see the Spice Girls animated movie.
Okay, I will.
But if you see it,
I'll run it.
Let me know. Part of the problem is,
I'm not sure if it'll be theatrical or not. To be honest,
I could see that being like a Netflix thing. I could see it being
like a Netflix thing, or something like that.
I did see Spice World.
Did you?
But I was so young. Yeah. And it was like I was half watching it in the background, and I know I listened. I heard some Spice Girls in that time, but I was never really that into them. Like at that age, like 7 or 8 years old, 9 years old, I liked Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and NSYNC. Those were the pop.
And that was a couple years later.
So I was like, that's kind of when I started to get.
I was in college,
so
when Spice Girls broke big.
Okay, well, what year would that have been roughly? Because
the movie was 97. The album was, I guess, 96.
Okay. So they broke in pretty fast, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it was runaway success for them. I was a big fan.
Wow.
My famous story about going to see that movie is I went on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh.
Because I have no interest in that. So me and my friend went to see Spice World. We were the only people in the theater, of course.
Nice.
And I had to go to the booth and knock on the door and say, "Can you please start the movie?" Because the guy was watching the Super Bowl on his little TV.
That's awesome.
And it was like 10 minutes had gone by. I'm like, all right, I get it, but... So yeah,
we paid for it, man.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty cool.
It's a good movie.
Cool little story. Was that Shippensburg Theater?
Chambersburg, yeah.
Oh, Chambersburg. Nice.
So yeah, when I was at Shippensburg.
Cool. All right. Well, I liked that.
What a topic.
Well, good topic. The Slice Girl.
Let's see. Do you want to talk next about how no one cares about Dark Phoenix?
That was the next topic I had. I'll lead this one.
Yeah.
Since I know a little more about X-Men than Spice Girls.
You do.
I know a little more. But to be honest, I don't think that the information's tilted quite as heavily against you in this one.
Probably not.
But the volume's considerably more in mine.
Yeah.
I've read some comics, in my time. What can I say? Anyway, but that could be part of the problem of why I don't have a huge amount of excitement. I'm probably going to see it because I'm a completionist, and this is the end of an era.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely see it at some point, but my interest level for Dark Phoenix is 0%.
And I
do not care.
I don't think it's probably as bad as some people. I mean, it's weird. I've heard some people say... I've heard different things. I've heard some people say it's bad. I've heard some people say it's pretty good. I've heard some people say it's okay.
I don't know many people that have actually seen it. So all I really know is that critically it is... and critics can't stand it.
That's the problem. Critics are being super hard on it. But people that have seen it seem to think it's not really that bad. It's probably like just an okay X-Men movie, which is maybe not what they're looking for. But I think that, harkening back to the reading of the comics thing, this is based on the Dark Phoenix storyline from the comics, the Chris Claremont era. one of the big Jean Grey storyline.
Right.
Gets, and they're doing it closer to the comic where.
And that's what's her face from Game of Thrones.
Sophie Turner, yes.
Right.
Yes, which the ending was horrible. Anyway,
of Game of Thrones.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah, I've heard.
Man, it was bad. It was kind of unsatisfying. Anyway, basically this one is sort of redoing X-Men 3: The Last Stand, which is one of the worst X-Men movies.
Right.
Basically doing that story again, but in that one they said that Jean Grey had these powers that were kind of hidden and Professor X is suppressing them, whatever. This time they're saying they go up to space, she gets penetrated, for lack of a better word, by the alien being, and it awakens the darkness within her and she goes on a rampage. So that's pretty much it. Jean Grey goes nuts and tries to destroy everybody and they have to save each other, but I'm sure there's some character drama in there, and that's fine and dandy, but they already did it once before, and nobody liked that one. So I think people associate that with one of the worst X-Men movies.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's classically the worst.
Yeah, worse than Origins Wolverine?
I always forget about that one. No, probably not.
They're about even, I think.
Yeah.
X-Men 3 is pretty bad. This one probably is better. It looks more competent. It looks like the cast knows what they're doing. I think that part of the problem is they're trying to do the same classic story again, and they failed so badly the first time. It doesn't really look like it's going to be epic enough to really, in the time of Endgame to match. And then on top of that, and a lot of people brought this up too, Logan, being as good as it was, really felt like the end of this X-Men's era.
Yes, that's sort of how I felt about it.
Like when you see Logan, that's kind of like Endgame. It is the end of an era of this franchise. But then they're like, oh, we still maybe have another contract to wrap this up. This movie was supposed to come out like a year earlier, but there were reshoots. So it feels like...
was that what happened with it?
Yeah, this one was supposed to have come out like a year ago. I think
that makes sense because Logan was like over 2 years ago now.
So if this had come out maybe like closer to the same time Logan had, like 2017, even 2018, maybe it would have felt like an appropriate ending.
Yeah.
But I think for a couple years now, X-Men feels like that Fox X-Men is kind of done. Disney's already bought it. We're already thinking about the new colorful X-Men we're going to get.
Well, right, and as a result, they're not really promoting it as much as any of their other movies.
Because they know...
When you look at the promotion for... forget Endgame, but even Aladdin or Toy Story 4 or Lion King, you don't see any commercials for Dark Phoenix.
There were a couple,
compared to those.
The only reason that I am kind of interested in Out of Sight of Completion is because I always really liked the First Class movies.
I did too.
Because I liked the cast a lot, and I don't know if I'd say that it's quite as good as the original cast with Hugh Jackman, but the thing I liked about the the prequel series, is that they really got the classic feel of like the 70s, 80s comics and the 90s animated series that I grew up with, closer to that. They had more colorful costumes, they were a little more fun, there was a lot of youthful energy there, and of course, I loved the fact that there was always the backdrop with history, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah,
90s.
Days of Future Past was such a cool movie.
Was very cool.
Yeah.
I think that was like one of the best examples of like doing a fun comic book movie.
Right.
It was really good. So,
although I didn't like that last one.
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Maybe that went too far, but I didn't mind that one. But the point is, they kind of kept that same tone, which I was cool with. It felt like what X-Men always should have been to me. This one, it seems like it's kind of going back to a darker, more serious one that is like the original group.
Okay.
So it seems a little off to me.
Right.
So I would like to end it on a more fun note, because we already had the really dark, gritty, realistic Logan. Yeah,
I mean, Logan really, you said it kind of put a pin in the end of that series very well.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a dry eye in the house when you're leaving Logan.
It is very
so to continue on with something that no one cares about.
It's literally like a lame duck.
Especially if you're redoing another movie that was also reviled.
It's like a bad memory.
It just I don't quite get the logic, and maybe that's why I just don't care about seeing it. And I like the X-Men.
Yeah.
I've gotten to know them obviously through the movies over the years.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a few episodes of the show back in the day, the cartoon, but yeah, my primary knowledge of it is from the films. and I've sort of it's built up for me. You know,
Sure.
like the first movie was pretty awesome. The second movie was pretty cool. The third movie was terrible. Then you had Wolverine, Logan.
You got your journey.
You know, but the back and forth. But then once I'm with you, like once they did the First Class ones, it was like it opened up a whole new
world,
a whole new to go back to Aladdin.
Point of view of X-Men.
Yeah, so I just feel like, well, why are we dragging out something that just ended so beautifully? Just let it. I get you want to make a buck. You want to make money, but like I'm getting kind of tired of it. And if you're still building up things,
sure,
like Avengers did over 10 years. Then great. Like, for example, okay, you said Endgame was a perfect, ending to it, whatever. But I'm still kind of excited to see Spider-Man Far From Home because I like Tom Holland.
I'll see Spider-Man.
I'll see
forever.
It. So why? Like, what is the difference? Like, Logan ended and it was perfect, but we don't care about Dark Phoenix. Endgame ended, and then 2 months later we're getting another movie, but yet we're excited about it. Right? Like,
well, I think it's slightly different, I guess, but the cool thing I like, all right, it kind of intersects in a different question about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because as excellent as the whole franchise has been and keep building this up, we've talked about it a lot, I still am okay with this era kind of ending. I don't know about what the next step is going to be
I don't either.
For building it up.
And Spider-Man is the last one for a while,
this
right?
Phase, yeah, they got to figure things out.
Right.
But this is the thing. Even if this group of Avengers, like, they're stepping down, like, for a while, I was talking to my one buddy Troll about it, the emotional investment's kind of done. Like, the spoilers,
right.
What happens with Tony and Cap it feels like definitive ending for that.
Sure.
I don't want to see another Iron Man for 20, 30 years. I don't care. Like,
yeah, they don't need to keep rebooting it.
But Spider-Man, even though he is connected, he has always been very much his own hero with his own stories.
Right.
He could continue doing his own thing and not mention the Avengers, and it would still be good.
Right.
With X-Men, it's a lot more connected, and
that makes sense.
I guess I think that's the thing about Dark Phoenix, is that it is still the conclusion of really the longest running connected superhero franchise. It is.
Until Avengers beats it, but yeah.
Eventually, but for now, for a while.
Yeah, because that first movie was what, 2002?
2000.
2000. Okay.
It's been almost 2 decades.
Almost 20 years.
So it's got the longest record right now.
Right.
So I feel like I need to at least see that movie to kind of see where they end off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You'll definitely see it, but
it's just, it feels like it should have either come out sooner or not at all.
Right.
That's how I feel about it.
Okay.
But I'm sure it's probably fine. Probably okay.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm disappointed with so much lately in the movies.
Yeah, it has been a very off couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, since we're on the Marvel topic from Endgame, do you want to talk about what's been going on with Mindy Kaling and the
oh yeah,
what's it called? So I brought this to your attention.
You did.
I did not. This was just announced either yesterday or something.
Didn't know about this.
The day before, but so we're talking about the all the upcoming new heroes that are going to be in the new phase.
Okay.
Because like you said, a lot of these others are probably going to be, pushed to the wayside. So, they're talking about the Eternals and some of these people.
Cool.
But so you've got Ms. Marvel, and specifically, I guess, the Kamala Khan incarnation, who this article compares to Peter Parker because she's just kind of her own thing and little neighborhood superhero. Okay,
she's
fine.
Kind of teenage girl, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about her,
She's
but
pretty new.
But I love Mindy Kaling, so I read this whole article about it. And Mindy Kaling is obviously Indian, and so she's very excited to try and get this particular character on the screen, and she even says, like, I'll do anything to help them out, and she was actually thinking, maybe with the whole Disney Plus thing, that could be an avenue if they didn't want to put her on the big screen.
I could see to give her a show or something.
Yeah,
probably be a better fit for her, I think.
So what do you think? And first of all, how is she related at all to Captain Marvel?
Well, I am not an expert, I will confess,
okay.
but I know enough. Well, it's interesting because I can already predict probably what's going to happen.
Tell me.
Well, first of all, yes, you are correct in your assessment. You see, the Brie Larson character, Captain Marvel, that we got in the movie, was originally Miss Marvel in the comics. She was the original.
Okay, so I had heard that.
She was the original Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
And the transition to becoming Captain Marvel was her getting a new book and kind of actually assuming the mantle of the original Captain Marvel, who was originally a guy.
Okay.
So.
Yes.
There's a couple Marvels.
But there's also wasn't Shazam, and I know that's DC, but wasn't Shazam originally called Captain Marvel or something?
All right, let me backtrack.
That was the thing, right?
Let me backtrack.
Okay.
All right. The history of Captain Marvel.
Tell me everything.
Oh man. Okay. My very my slightly tired kind of incoherent.
Okay.
All right. I like to joke about you just told me you saw Shazam.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'll never think of that as Shazam. It's not called Shazam. I hate that people are going to probably think, oh, that's Shazam. That's not his damn name.
Right.
It's Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Yes, Captain Marvel.
But they couldn't do that anymore, right?
Captain Marvel was the name of the character from the 40s who was basically like Superman, but he got his powers from magic, as you know from the movie,
right?
Essentially. And he was Captain Marvel for a long time. Marvel also had their own Captain Marvel, which was this alien guy who was basically like Brie Larson, but he was a guy, but he was an alien.
Okay.
He was an alien. It's Captain Marvel. So there were two Captain Marvels, no problem. And eventually it was just some kind of, I guess, dispute to differentiate, sales-wise or something. They changed.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you can't have two bands called the Rolling Stones.
True.
Like,
this is the messed up part, though. Okay, DC owns Captain Marvel. Okay,
right.
They came up with that character name first.
Right.
But they cave in to Marvel Comics, and so they.
But it makes sense because they're called Marvel Comics.
Okay, Dan, but listen to me.
All right,
listen to me.
I'm listening.
They don't change the character's name in the comics. They just give him Shazam Comics. The title of his comics is Shazam, but the character's name is still Captain Marvel for a long time.
Okay.
And Captain Marvel in Marvel Comics has never been as popular as Captain Marvel in DC Comics. He's never been as popular. He has never been as popular, but comparatively speaking. So I thought it was ridiculous that DC caved into that. So anyway, you've got Captain Marvel from DC, who is called Shazam.
Stan Lee must have paid a lot of money for the rights or something, right?
Originally, he wasn't even a DC character. He was owned by a separate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some other comic company. But yes. So anyway, there's always that.
Okay.
But Captain Marvel was like this alien captain, guardian guy. Not really that popular of a character.
Okay.
Anyway, but then the powers were transferred to Miss Marvel. And she actually was more popular than Captain Marvel, which is why eventually she became Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, right.
And popular enough that she got her own movie. Cool, right? So that paved the way for someone else to take the remaining Miss Marvel line, enter this character, who is really only a couple years old.
Really?
Very new character. And that was another new... this is also a resurgence of both Marvel and DC. They're trying to be more inclusive.
Right.
And they're trying to
Let's have a gay character. Let's have a black character. Let's have everything. Right.
And she's a Muslim character.
Right.
And so I didn't read too many of her comics, but I think I checked out the first couple issues like a while back, and basically she's just this character who gets these powers, but she also has to deal with, much like Peter Parker,
high school stuff,
high school drama, but also dealing with being a Muslim Arab girl in the inner city.
This all makes so much sense because Mindy Kaling is a huge advocate for just basically being a role model for women. The Mindy Project, the TV show, was a huge stepping off point for a woman, creating, producing, writing her own show.
Sweet.
Especially one of color. So that makes so much sense that she would see this character on the page and be like, you know what, let me help you bring this to the screen. Okay, that's all falling into place now.
So that makes sense. But as far as my prediction goes, I actually think her idea, or your idea, was her idea.
She said about the Disney Plus, yeah.
I think that's a great avenue because I confess, since Captain Marvel just came out and it had kind of a controversial sort of reception.
Yeah, I guess so, which I still don't quite get, but okay.
Sexist backlash.
Everyone hates women, yeah.
I kind of. Actually, let's be real.
That's what.
That all the worst trolls came out, and that was at the forefront of all the news.
And we've talked about that before on your show with Ghostbusters and Ocean's 8 and everything.
And
it's been
my last
2 years. It's been becoming more and more obvious.
And the previous podcast, it came up too. My buddy Kean, we talked about how people felt risks about. Still feeling risks about female lead movies now. It's up until fairly recently, it was like, oh man, a female-led action movie or anything,
right?
Man, that's not going to do well. Why not? Like, it's so weird.
Remember how huge Bridesmaids was?
Exactly.
Bridesmaids was just like, oh my god, wait. People wanted to go see this.
People want to see a movie about women, mostly starring women.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah. Like, I don't know.
For a long time, they were so few and far between.
I guess so. That's so strange to me. I don't know. But in any case, I think that Disney Plus would be probably safer because there was already a Marvel movie with that similar character coming out. Plus, with how uneven it did, she'd probably make more sense as a show.
Right. And that seems to be, I guess, a lot of the new Marvel shows are on, Hulu, now that Netflix has canceled them, or they're coming to Hulu?
Except for Jessica Jones, which I think has one more season on Netflix.
Okay, because I believe Disney just bought Hulu. So now, this Disney Plus, I don't know how that factors in with Hulu, but Hulu is where the Mindy show went after it got canceled on Fox. So she's no stranger to the streaming thing.
Disney's just going to own everything eventually.
Yes, I know. It's very annoying.
It's got to happen.
It's annoying.
They're just having it happen now. Just giving everybody. But, yeah, I think that's going to be a good platform for the character if she does it because there'll be more content than just the movie, too.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think exposure for color and just strong female characters, more Marvel exposure, I think that just it's more needed in general. I think Wonder Woman did a great job for that. I still really like Wonder Woman the movie.
I'm really excited talk about something I'm pumped for. Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be awesome.
I think that looks. I'm very excited because
and Pine is back.
And Pine is back somehow.
I don't know. I don't know if it's flashbacks or what's going on, but Pine's back.
You know, this is really good.
Maybe he plays his own son or something.
And maybe time travel. Who knows?
Who knows?
But I loved this part of the conversation, and it's actually a good segue. I don't know if he did it consciously or not, but stream of consciousness perhaps for Chris Pine. Segue.
I see where you're going.
Well, let's see. Well, he did.
We've had great segues this whole show.
Yeah, that was not planned.
Wow, no, it was not.
But yeah, I don't know if he'll be in this particular film. Maybe. But Chris Pine, as you may know, was in a certain Star Trek related franchise.
Yeah.
The reboot films. He was Captain Kirk.
Yeah, the Abrams.
The Abrams movies. So, this, as we've heard, there's rumors of this Tarantino Star Trek film, which is still floating around. I think it is slowly becoming a thing. He's not shutting up about it.
No.
Like he really wants to do it.
No, yeah, just yesterday there was an article about it.
So it's
him talking about
definitely some kind of thing. He's got his new movie coming out, which is going to be...
Yes, and his 9th of the 10 films.
Which throws me off, okay, because... Okay, this is the thing about the Tarantino thing. All right.
About his putting a pin on his movies?
This is what confuses me. No, well... Okay, there could be several discussions out of this.
You're right.
Okay. I'll try to keep it organized in my head. First of all, putting a pin in his movies. He is talking about doing this Star Trek film, which we'll get into the specifics on that in a second. So his whole thing is he's got the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, second to last movie. He's always said he's going to do 10 films. That's it. He believes a great director is like a great fighter. Go when you're at your highs, when your time is up, you're done. Like, lead on a high note.
Right.
He wants to make every movie as good as he possibly can. And so far, Tarantino
his track record is probably better than any other director ever.
He's the master.
He's the master.
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with somebody the other day. They didn't realize the whole Woody Allen thing where he like forces himself to make a movie every year.
Oh man.
And I said, and he's a big Tarantino fan, this gentleman.
Sure.
And who isn't? And I said to him, yeah, that's why you don't do that. Because Woody Allen he hadn't seen many Woody Allen movies. He asked me basically what my opinion was. And I said he's probably the most uneven director there is. Because some of his movies are great, some of them are horrible. But whatever, good or bad, he forces himself to put one out every year. And it's stupid.
Give yourself time to...
It's stupid. That's not how art is supposed to work.
Exactly. And Tarantino knows that. Yeah, it's a process. Like some of the best movies, they take years and years.
And the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
You know, because like we're saying, he's the master. He is. None of his movies, I think, for either of us, have earned anything less than like an A-.
Probably. I think his worst movie is probably Death Proof, and that's still...
That's the one I have not seen, but...
And that's still pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's an exploitation movie about a guy that is a serial killer.
Right.
And then women get revenge on him.
Classic. Like classic Tarantino.
Like, you know, it's not his smartest movie, but it's completely wholesome about what it is.
Yeah.
His worst movie, and it's still fine.
Right.
So I don't. The point is, Tarantino, he's never made a bad movie.
No,
he never has.
Nope.
Okay, so there's that whole legacy there. And then he's floating around the idea that I thought, okay, does that mean that his last movie is going to be a Star Trek movie because he's never done sci-fi?
That's interesting.
I'd be cool if Tarantino did a sci-fi, like an old school 50s one, and then but he's also taking on a well-established franchise, not his own thing.
That's what I don't like.
Which he doesn't really do. But he also said recently that his 10th film, he knows what it's going to be. His 10th film. Which makes me think the Star Trek thing's like he doesn't consider it his.
Whatever happened to Kill Bill? Because that was supposed to be a volume 3, right?
They were supposed to do something, I think, with her daughter or the daughter of one of the women he killed.
Was that counting as a separate movie?
I think.
So he's saying, so Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, number 9. Is Kill Bill 1 and 2 two different movies? Because you got Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction,
Jackie
Brown, Kill Bill 2, if we're counting that as a separate one, that's number 5, but I don't think we do.
I don't think we are.
Then we count Death Proof. Then Inglourious Bastards. Hateful Eight, and there's one in the middle,
Django
right?
Unchained.
And then Django. So Django would be 9 if Kill Bill counts as 2 movies. So I don't think it does.
No, he did, because he's saying he's doing his 10th. He has not done.
Right, so Kill Bill counts as 1 movie.
Which I always said it
Which
did.
means if he makes a volume 3, it doesn't count as one of his 10.
No, because it still could technically be considered the same movie.
Number 4.
Sure. So he's okay.
So maybe Star Trek doesn't count either.
I don't think it does because he announced, I believe, what his plan for his final movie is going to be. Which, interesting, related to Kill Bill, it is a sequel to one of his other movies.
Really?
That rumor is.
Is it Glass?
Tarantino did not direct Unbreakable.
No,
he's gonna do
Glass
it.
would have been watchable if Tarantino directed.
He'll make his own sequel to Unbreakable.
God,
because Glass is so bad.
Wouldn't that be funny if he?
You know, Shyamalan, I'm actually going to do this for you. I think I can do it.
I think that would be hilarious.
Like
his 10th movie was a remake of Glass because Glass was so terrible.
Like Tarantino's sitting in a theater because he actually reviews movies like I was like, I thought that movie sucked.
Oh my God!
I could say, you know what? I'm going to do that better.
I think that'd be funny.
He couldn't call it the same thing, but it's basically the same movie.
His would be called, like, Fiberglass or something. All right.
That'd be great. He said that he wants to do a sequel to Django Unchained.
Okay.
Following Django, teaming up with Zorro.
Really?
Yeah.
Zorro, like the Mask of Zorro.
Yep, like Antonio Banderas' Zorro. Which, to be honest, time-wise, that would kind of fit. Very similar characters.
And I guess Zorro is a public domain character.
Yep, he could do it.
So he could do it. Huh.
And I'll be honest, that doesn't sound terrible to me.
No, but I mean...
Does it sound kind of cheap?
Yeah, it sounds kind of cheap. Also, I don't know. I feel like because Tarantino's such a visionary...
Would that be your last movie?
His movies are very similarly themed. I mean, you could always tell, okay, that's a Tarantino movie.
And they grow.
They're marked with a lot of different specific things, the feet and the blood and the excessive cursing. But, it just seems like maybe a step backwards for him creatively.
Like he's not pushing himself.
Yeah. And so if that's his last movie, I don't know. I don't think I like that.
Unless he did something very different with the story.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what would be something different that he could push himself? Sci-fi and also a franchise that's not his own.
That would certainly be out of his wheelhouse and would be interesting, yes.
Which leads into the focus. If this is or is not his last thing, he has confirmed it is going to be a Tarantino movie. And I wonder if a Tarantino movie over a Star Trek movie R-rated.
Well, that's always been the question. Is this going to be more of a Tarantino movie or more of a Star Trek movie? And I think, and I've said this on your show, I think the only way it works is if it's a Tarantino movie. Because I feel like because he's the director, it's not going to be a Star Trek movie. You can put the characters in it, but it's not going to be a Star Trek movie. It'll be called Star Trek Tarantino style, whatever. But like
he is a fan of the shows apparently. I mean, I feel like he'd respect the source material. He wants to. You don't think so, or do you think he's going to be subversive?
I don't think he's. I think the fact that he is going so guns a-blazing about this is going to be a hard R, this is going to be language and violence and all the Tarantino staples. The fact that he's going out and saying things like that tells me that it's not really going to respect the source material at all.
That's a good point.
Star Trek is the family-friendly science fiction series. It always has been.
Kind of, yeah.
And All Access is trying to change that a little bit because they can get away with some swearing, so they do that a little more, which I still don't like.
Really like.
Right. I mean, Why don't you like it? Because it seems forced.
Well, and I hate to say this because it makes me seem like I'm closed-minded, but it doesn't really feel like Star Trek.
Right, and that has always been my point as soon as it said it.
I'm not saying that it has to always be that strict, but like the Star Trek, the Starfleet, they're the pinnacle of people. They're kind of very proper. They don't really curse. They're supposed to be like the best of humanity. And then violence is a last resort. It's always about negotiating and talking, which Tarantino's good at. Has great dialogue.
Well, yes, his dialogue has always been great. That's very true.
But we could have F-bombs and N-words in the far future.
Well, and that's right. That's the problem. I mean,
I'm okay with more violence to an extent, like laser guns, like what he could do with that sort of thing. Like, maybe it won't be bloody necessarily, but it's just a weird thing to picture.
It just doesn't. I don't think it gels. I think it would be an interesting exercise for him. But I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a Star Trek movie. And I'm not sure if it's going to be a good movie. I think if he wants to tackle sci-fi.
Like, it's interesting, too, because he's doing Star Trek, and I always kind of felt that he's kind of dabbled in every genre he wants to. I don't think fantasy's his wheelhouse. He said...
No.
He talked about horror once, and I think someone asked him why he didn't do a horror movie. He said, I love horror. But he's like, I know that's not my thing. Like he doesn't feel confident he could do horror.
Right.
So he doesn't think he's good at everything.
Well, right. And his movies have some jokes, but I wouldn't call them comedies.
No, he's not really.
He's not done a comedy yet either. Really,
hasn't done a straight comedy.
And that's okay. I mean, like we don't have to be Scorsese and try our hand at everything, or Spielberg or whatever.
No, I mean, sure, he's good at mostly crime thrillers and stuff,
right?
And the pop culture
and the ones that he's done, like we've said, are excellent.
No, he's really good. But I will admit, I do think Tarantino tackling like an old school sci-fi kind of exploitation thing could work if he had more control over it.
That is what.
But not Star Trek.
That's what I think he should do if he wants to do sci-fi.
Do his own
because
thing.
The thing is, as you well know, with science fiction, the possibilities are literally endless. Because it's whatever your mind can create.
Sure.
It's science fiction.
Sweet, yeah.
Westerns, which he's done very well, are kind of limited. So if he does so well with a very basic, reined-in type of narrative like a Western, there's no end to what his mind can figure out with sci-fi. But I don't see the point other than, I don't know, as an exercise for himself or to pay tribute in his own way or whatever to Roddenberry. I mean, there's just no reason to do a Star Trek movie.
So you're really not about it?
No. I'm really not. I think it is. I just don't think it's what Star Trek is about. Look, I love Tarantino movies.
Yeah.
And I love swearing in my everyday life. But to me, it's just not. That's not what Star Trek is about. It's always been family friendly. It's always been about morals, and there's not a whole ton of morals in Tarantino movies.
Not
revenge. A lot of revenge.
Yeah, Star Trek's not typically about revenge.
No.
I mean, Wrath of Khan, I guess, kind of.
Well, all right.
But that was the bad guy.
That was the bad guy. So. I feel strongly about it.
And
I really, and I have ever since it was announced.
The more you talk about it, the more I think. See, I have faith in Tarantino as a filmmaker that I think, if he was aware of what he was doing and the brand he's attached to and the legacy, which I'd have to imagine he is.
I think he must be.
He does research. He said he grew up watching it.
Right.
So for him to drop a lot of careless F-bombs and Jackie Brown was not an original concept of his. It was based on a book. Now he used some of his tendencies on it. There were some Tarantino-isms there. But one reason I really like Jackie Brown, and I bring it up a lot, is because of all the Tarantino movies, it's kind of the least Tarantino.
It is.
It's very reined in.
Yeah.
It almost couldn't be his movie. It's one of the ones people don't usually think about.
Right.
But it's still an excellent movie.
It is excellent.
So that, I think, is an example of he can go outside his comfort zone and still do it well.
But that was also 20 years ago. He has gotten
pretty
even bigger since then.
Post Kill Bill, he's can't be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, Pulp Fiction got him to the dance.
He was still the indie guy,
but he was still indie, right? And now, I mean, he is household name. Obviously, he's nominated for just about every movie he does. I mean, I think 20 years have gone by since Jackie Brown, so I don't know.
All right, well, you know what? Time will tell. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the Hollywood movie, though.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure that'll be excellent. It's already got like a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes or something. So.
And usually his team ups for repeated castings work out. I mean, Leo's in it again.
Has Matt Damon ever been in it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But Brad Pitt was in Inglourious Basterds.
Brad Pitt was in Bastards.
Yeah.
And who else is in it?
Margot Robbie, but I don't think she's done one yet.
No, I think it's some new people. Actually,
yeah, well, he always gets some new and some old. You know, you always have Christoph Waltz, but then you have Daisy Domergue. I forget the actress' name, but I love her.
Oh man,
or Channing Tatum for that one scene.
Back again.
But he'll throw Madsen back in there, but then he'll add somebody new that hasn't been there.
Gotcha.
So
it'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, they always are.
Sure, it's fine.
Except Star Trek.
What if it was amazing? What if he proved what if it was amazing and it was his last film?
Listen, I am never one to not admit when I'm wrong.
Sure. But you're not confident at all.
I have no confidence in it. If it's great, then good. I will say it's great, but
I kind of wish it wasn't R-rated.
That is in itself is the thing.
Do we need boobs in a Star Trek movie?
That is giving me that's just giving me the sort of putting the wall up about it, because it's just that's not what Star Trek is.
Gotcha.
To me,
you're right. It's typically not. And he says he wants to do more of like a next gen type storyline anyway. It's probably even more like Star Trek than TOS would be.
Yeah.
TOS would be more his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I would think.
More, brass knuckles and stuff.
Now, what if Whoopi, though, is in it as Uhura?
As Uhura?
Yeah.
Well, Whoopi's probably at the age where she could be like post.
I guess she could come on as Guinan too, but
she could play Uhura.
Pretty minor character in the Star Trek universe. Uhura at least is.
I bet Whoopi would be on it if he asked her to be.
I'm sure she probably would.
Because she loves Star Trek.
Yeah, she does.
And she doesn't really do anything.
She goes to the convention.
Like The View,
Yeah, other than The View, she doesn't act too much. She was in a movie, one of those Tyler Perry movies last year, but.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, she doesn't have to do anything.
No, she doesn't.
She's Whoopi Goldberg. But yeah, man, I don't know what the future holds for that Star Trek movie.
I don't either.
But if we live in a world where there's a Tarantino-directed Star Trek movie, that'll definitely be weird.
Yeah.
And talk about something I never thought would be a conversation ever.
It's a world I don't know if I want to enjoy, but all right, we'll see, I guess.
It's something. But
all right.
I don't know if this is the smoothest transition.
We have no transition for our last one. Oh wait, here you go.
Give me
I got one. Okay, you just said how Whoopi Goldberg doesn't have to do it. She doesn't need the work. Nice person.
Yes.
Right.
Who is that like?
One might say that there's an actor who does not need to do Bill and Ted's 3.
Yeah.
Because clearly he is riding a high right now.
For sure.
But he is doing it. And I think he's doing it honestly. A, fan service, and B, throw a bone to his buddy Alex Winter.
Give him a job.
We're talking about Keanu.
Yo.
What a segue.
That's a good one. And how surreal.
It's very, and this has all just been the last couple of weeks.
Really?
That Keanu Reeves has blown up as like worldly known good guy Keanu Reeves. I've seen memes in the last couple of days of like, Chuck Norris handing the keys over of the cool to Keanu, and you own the internet now, and all this kind of stuff. And it is kind of surreal. Well, I think to him as well.
It is. And, it's not completely a surprise to me for a couple reasons. I guess it's been reaching its height the last couple weeks, but there's been stuff floating around, I think, the past couple of years about Keanu Reeves being a cool guy.
Yeah.
It's been there.
And being a nice guy.
And being a very nice...
Like, like the time he stopped at the side of the road and, like, I forget if he gave the girl a ride or fixed her tire or whatever he did. But it was, like, just random stuff. Sort of Keanu Reeves acts of kindness sort of thing.
I heard about it the other day, too, much like some other actors, like a Damon or a Keaton. Keanu Reeves doesn't seem to let the fame or fortune go to his head.
Ever.
He lives very meagerly.
I believe, didn't he buy... this was a story, I think, 2 weeks ago, and I think it was Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
He was on a flight, and it was stuck taxiing or whatever for, like, hours, and he called out and got everybody on the plane dinner.
That's
he, like,
awesome.
brought... Yeah, like, I mean, it's like, you know, fast food or whatever, but, yeah, he, like, paid $1,000 or whatever just to get everybody dinner.
That'd be awesome to do that.
Like, what a guy.
What an awesome dude!
Yeah,
and I think that's a good summary right there. And he's like you said, he helps that with that. I mean, he doesn't seem to be very arrogant. He's just like a normal guy.
And what's funny is when he first came out, I mean, Bill and Ted's was fun and cool.
Sure.
But then he got very pigeonholed into doing that stupid stoner type of role. Even if he's like in Speed, he's a dumb cop, you know. And so for like 10 years, it was like all these kind of similar roles. And even The Matrix, you know, which was awesome and
going
cool,
off
but he's still sort of like, whoa, man, yeah, like off of that whole like stoner vibe, Bill and Ted's kind of vibe. And so I just sort of always wrote him off as not being all that talented.
Like I think I even recall. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I think I recall even when we started doing Film Fanatics.
Yes,
I remember conversations of, Keanu Reeves is okay. He's got a couple good movies, but I remember I think even I said this. I was like, I don't think he's a very good actor.
And at that time period, he was doing things like The Lake House with Sandra Bullock, and like he was trying his hand at drama and like, romance and
like he was kind of a joke, like outside of The Matrix, and a couple other movies, Bill and Ted, and a handful of others. Speed, I would say, is one of them.
Yeah,
he was kind of a joke.
He was kind of a joke.
Like The Matrix is cool, but like what else you do?
Right.
Like that. Like,
and I think it wasn't until that first Wick
that people were like, wait,
oh, okay, because the first Wick didn't do that well. It's one of those movies that came, you know, the success came later.
I know, and
more when it got to cable and DVD and stuff.
I was talking to somebody at work about it, like, you know, like when the first John Wick came out, I didn't even see it in theaters. I heard about it, and like John Wick was a very natural word of mouth thing, very old fashioned.
It really was.
It might not have spiked in the theaters or online or anything, but word spread that it was like a.
I believe,
classic.
And maybe I'm missing by a million or two, but I believe the opening weekend of Wick 3 beat the entire run of the first Wick.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Because it's been building like that. And so he's apparently in Toy Story 4 as well and steals the show.
Sweet.
As this Duke Kaboom, I believe his name is.
Duke Kaboom.
And, you know, there's a movie that I am excited to see because it's Toy Story, but I wasn't really...
Reservations.
I don't think it needed to exist. But
no.
I'm sure it'll be great. It's Pixar, you know.
Sure.
But, yeah, apparently he steals the show in that. There's all these stories about him, you know, just being a great guy. I just read an article today where it said... you know, take a look at Keanu Reeves in pictures with females. He purposely like doesn't touch them. You know, like now we've got
be respectful.
The whole Me Too thing and being Careful. Cuba Gooding Jr. Getting arrested
jail
for
now.
Taking a photo. And maybe inappropriately touching. But yeah, apparently it's spread now to the whole Me Too thing. Like not only is Keanu Reeves a nice guy, but he's respectful of women too. Which is like
I'd hope so, but I guess now it's been.
But now you never know. I guess anymore.
Because now it's like you're overcompensating. But the point is. He definitely seems like a nice guy.
But I think you're right. The fame, it doesn't seem to affect him.
No.
I mean, he's been famous now for 30 years. Bill and Ted's came out in 1988, I think. Or 9. Yeah. So, 30 or so years.
Wow.
And he really does seem like the same...
person.
Kind of guy.
He seems to act the same.
Yes, he does seem to act the same.
Role-wise, he's about pretty consistent there.
Yeah, that's true. But there's so many people of that, I feel like ilk, their caliber that really, I think, let that inflate their ego a lot. And maybe because he was sort of a joke for a while, I'm sure he was aware of that. Maybe he sort of humbled himself from that. Remember when Will Smith almost was in The Matrix?
Yeah, that's been going around too, and he even did that vlog. Like, yeah, I passed on The Matrix to do Wild Wild West.
Wild West.
Wasn't my best decision, I guess, but I would have known. But then he would have gotten Keanu Reeves, and maybe he was the person for that role.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been a different movie.
It would have been, because this is the thing. The thing about Keanu Reeves in that role is he was kind of that everyman, that quiet,
yes,
almost like a blank slate.
Yeah.
Will Smith is a good actor. He's kind of incapable of doing that because he oozes charisma. I don't think he could play a blank character.
And I don't think you still saw After Earth, but that was one of the problems of After Earth is you confine your action star to a seat, an airplane seat, the whole movie. It's like terrible.
And it wasn't fun.
It wasn't funny at all. The other thing that might be different about The Matrix, because of the way Hollywood is, where you can't have two black leads in this action movie, they wouldn't have had Lawrence Fishburne in the movie.
And that
a
huge component.
To me, Morpheus is the movie.
Don't want to dovetail too much, but I've noticed that seems to be with a lot of these epics for you. Sometimes your favorite characters aren't like the main. Like you like that wise mentor character, like the Gandalfs, the Yodas.
I like a well-written side character of any, whether it's in a drama or an action or whatever. I like because I think it's easy to make a side character very one-dimensional.
It is.
Morpheus says, "Okay, pick your pill." The end. But I do enjoy. I do enjoy a well-written side character. But yeah, I like a giver of information.
All right,
the giver.
But you don't.
For example,
I'm gonna give her.
Oh
man, but no, I think actually it's a good point. I think Morpheus is probably the most quotable person in that movie, and he's got the great lines.
He's certainly the glue that holds it together.
He is. He gives you all the exposition.
Right.
This is how things are.
Right. And I don't think he would have been cast if Will Smith was Reeves.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
That might have been weird. I just picture. I feel like if Will Smith was in The Matrix, there would have been a comedy. He would have been cracking jokes.
Yeah, I think it would have been a very different movie.
Oh, really? I don't know about that. Like,
woo! Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm looking through Keanu Reeves' filmography.
Okay.
And
Lake House.
That was on there. I mean,
November, Sweet November.
It's gonna go BS with Charlize Theron.
Yeah. Very good.
I can't believe I remember
I thought I'd throw you on that one.
I'm pretty good, Dan.
You're right.
You should know that. This goes by most searched, obviously.
Okay.
On Google. So
Matrix would be first.
John Wick first.
I'm sorry, of course, John Wick right now.
Right next to it is Matrix.
Yeah.
And then Toy Story 4, obviously, because it's like
because it's new.
Right. Okay, so right there, that's like kind of where he is now in the pop culture, I guess, right? Then I've got some things, a lot of stuff that I direct to DVD don't know.
Okay.
More John Wick. We got Speed, which you said that was kind of the height, I guess, of his dumb cop role.
I mean, because it was really his, other than Bill and Ted's, it was his only big hit for like the first 15 years of his career.
I love Speed.
Until The Matrix came out.
Speed's great.
Speed's okay.
Speed's fun.
Yeah, Speed's fun.
Speed's fun, because you know why?
Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Right.
Ba-bam. Now, okay, this is one in the middle of the period of time.
Johnny Mnemonic.
That's a cult classic.
Okay.
That's a cult classic.
All right.
But I that also was going off the stoner.
Yeah,
weird,
yeah.
But that might have tapped into the cyberpunk stuff for The Matrix later.
Yeah, maybe.
So, maybe, but kind of in that vein. I don't know if that was quite that status. And similarly, Constantine. People kind of knew him for Constantine for a while.
Right.
Which I thought he was pretty good as that character. Point Break was one of them, pretty big.
That's in that whole stoner surfer vibe. Same with My Own Private Idaho, which he tried to branch out. I mean, it was like a gay drama, him and River Phoenix, but he was still like a dumb character. Yeah, like, and they were just dumb kids exploring their sexuality as opposed to riding, waves.
His popularity doesn't derive from that. Did you know he was in Dracula? He was in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I remember that. I never saw it, but yeah, I remember that.
He was terrible in it. Everyone knows that. His accent was bad.
Good.
47 Ronin.
Horrible. I think I might have failed that movie. That was terrible.
Devil's Advocate's a good movie, but
people seem to like that.
No one talks about that one. Bill and Ted, obviously. He was in the Day of the Earth is Still remake, which you know is
Oh, you hate that.
I've never even seen it. And I hate it.
You should be the original.
which is great.
True classic.
Is Hardball a movie people like a lot?
No.
No? Walk in the Clouds.
Oh my god, that was like his Nicholas Sparks phase.
It's Tibet. It's like Once Upon a Time.
Oh my god. Yeah, see, this is when he was trying to get real dramatic.
Private Idaho's one. There's a bunch of movies. He was in Something's Gotta Give as the doctor.
Oh, I never saw that.
Decent.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson, it's fine.
They were all the same too. There's that Jack Nicholson resurgence.
Oh, Scanner Darkly's cool.
Scanner Darkly is very cool. Yes, I like that one a lot.
But I also don't think that's big enough to like the John Wick status.
No.
And Chain Reaction.
Niche for sure.
Neon Demon he was in?
I don't know that.
Watcher, he was in The Gift. That was Cate Blanchett.
The Gift. Not The Gift with Jason Bateman.
No.
What if he popped up as the stalker?
You should see The Gift though. It's a good cast. You got Cate Blanchett and Greg Kinnear, Hilary Swank, a bunch of people.
I like all these people that you're saying.
Yeah, she's like she can see the future and she knows about a murder that Keanu Reeves is like blamed for it. He's like, didn't do it.
That sounds about right.
He was in Much Ado About Nothing, where whenever he tries to do Shakespeare, it doesn't work.
He was doing his acting, his drama chops on that one too.
But basically, other than that, these are all like minor directed.
So maybe that's kept him humble. I mean, he's a name actor and he's a working actor, but
most of his movies aren't.
In terms of like huge hits, he's only really had 3 series and Speed.
Yeah, that's it.
So, so maybe that helps.
That's weird, and he is recognizable.
When you think about it, those people that you mentioned at the beginning of this topic, Damon and Keaton, same thing. I mean, they're all household names, but they really only have probably 2 or 3 like huge movies or franchises, and then other than that, they're just known as good people.
Yep, and just getting random movies in between.
Yeah. Right? I mean,
you're right. They aren't quite at the level where everything they're in is a massive success.
I mean, you think about all the misses that Damon has. That movie where he's going to town to stop the oil rig or whatever that was.
Oh yeah.
And then he did that Downsizing last year that was kind of a bomb, and but everybody still likes him. Everybody still knows him.
No one's going to say, "Oh man, all Matt Damon movies suck."
Right. And Reeves maybe is in that kind of camp.
You're right. He made a bunch of bombs or movies that people didn't see, but then he's in a movie like, Keanu Reeves is a good one now.
Yeah.
Cool.
But then you have somebody like Nick Cage, who I think his ego got way too big. But he's in that same camp. He came out right around the same time, like late 80s.
Nick Cage is weird because, and when I really think about it, he started off really strong.
He did.
Like the first...
His 80s and early 90s movies are pretty good.
He's got a lot... He won like an Academy Award like in the mid-90s.
Yeah, Leaving Las Vegas was I think 96. Yeah,
so he was big for a while.
I've still never seen, but...
I haven't seen either, but I know of it. And he was... And he only became, a joke within maybe the past decade or so. But, But it's like people still love him though. Like even though he's in a lot of horrible movies.
People like him, I think, as a punchline, but I don't know if they love him.
You don't think people? So
no.
If a movie starred Nick Cage now, people would be worried about it now.
Yeah, nobody would see Nick. That's why they all go to DVD. What was the last theatrical movie he had? Drive Angry. Remember that terrible Drive Angry?
I was going to cheat and say...
what were you going to say?
The movie that he didn't star in, but that he was in.
He was in Kick-Ass 2.
Or
no, Kick-Ass 1.
Yes.
What was he in recently, though? He was in something small. Well, he was in Spider-Verse as a voice.
That was actually pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
But what was the movie about... was it the... Man, I totally forget what it was. About the gentleman that betrayed secrets.
Oh, the Julian Assange movie?
It wasn't
the WikiLeaks movie?
It might have been the WikiLeaks. It wasn't the WikiLeaks movie. It's the other one.
The one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah.
Was he in that?
Yeah. He was like the CIA director guy.
That's weird.
He was like in one scene.
I don't even remember that. And I saw that movie.
I liked that movie.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was decent.
Oliver Stone again, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
but still, nobody went to see that for Nick Cage.
No.
You know?
It was like, oh, he's in it.
Or nobody saw, nobody wants to see the Spider-Verse for the Nick Cage voice cameo.
But people seem to like it that he was in it and doing that voice and doing it well. Like, people loved, oh, that was perfect. Like, people weren't mad that Nick Cage
Well, I think people root for Nick Cage.
Like you can do it, buddy.
Right.
You can get back to where you were.
It's like a drug addict or something. You're just like, you're rooting for them, but at the same time, you're overly cautious about your expectations.
Like, you're like, you know what it's like? When he did that voice role in Spider-Verse, I think people were just happy that there was this perfect film.
Yes.
That Nick Cage could be
Nick
a part
Cage
of.
couldn't ruin.
He was perfect at it.
Yeah,
so it was good that Nick Cage, even in a small role, was in something good again.
That was about a perfect movie. You and I both agree, number one movie of last year.
I think so.
Oh yeah, it was hands down for me.
Well, I mean, I
think it might be the only A+ I even gave the whole year.
Well, I looked up more about it, and
so good.
I didn't know this when we talked about it originally, but they invented a whole new way to animate.
That doesn't surprise me.
To make that movie.
That's why it was so vivid and wild.
I didn't know this. I'll link you some videos or something, but just a brief side thing because I just love talking about this. That movie, like obviously it's a love letter to Spider-Man in comics. It is on so many levels you don't even realize. The way they animated that movie, the style they were going for, emulates the faulty print from old comics. Like if you look at comics,
really, how it's like the ink is like
it's all kind of overlapping. It's always a little fuzzy. They intentionally did it frame by frame. Every single shot of that is done with so much detail that every single pause, just try it if you get it. Freeze frame any scene, any shot. It is a beautiful painting that you can look at with the overlays. It's just by itself. Any single frame, any single shot is a work of art.
That's awesome.
That's just they tried to design it like every frame was like a comic book panel.
Well, it was a brilliant movie. So that doesn't surprise me at all. It's really cool.
That's just like they had to. I think it was because they were trying to emulate the faultiness of limited ink from the 60s. I'm like, and it's just like that was fascinating.
Yeah.
They had to. And that's why there was like the frame seems kind of off. They invented a whole new way
really cool.
to animate it. And
that seems like one that if you get the Blu-ray, you would want to watch the bonus features.
Do it
to see how they did everything.
It reminded me of check out his channel. I mean, it reminded me of our conversations about like Snow White when they just invented new colors and like coming up with new types of cameras.
Yeah, we talked about that on my channel.
Like innovating new ways to just make. Wow,
I love it. Point is, Keanu Reeves is cool.
Yes, and I think that's true. And I think that if he voiced the same character that Nick Cage did, it might have been even better.
That would have been very cool. I think Nick Cage was perfect for it, though.
He was. I think it was.
I'm excited to see what this Duke Kaboom character is in Toy Story 4.
Sure, it'll be great.
I can't think of any animated that Reeves has done so far. Scanner Darkly was, I guess, mildly
rotoscoping.
Rotoscoping, but he still not really animated. He was still there.
He did live action before it.
That was a cool movie.
Very cool.
To bring that up again.
Very weird movie. Keanu Reeves is cool, and I guess the formula for that is he kept himself humble, had a couple good hits that he's, I guess, still proud of.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's coming back for Bill and Ted's 3, which people are excited about.
And apparently John Wick's success means new Matrix movie.
Yes, I've heard that, that third Matrix movie was horrible. Wick 4 has already been announced.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
I was surprised about it, but I was not disappointed.
But see, these are the kind of movies that I like that grow organically.
Yeah.
Wick was not an established character. Now, it might be based on a book or something, I don't know. But
I don't think so.
But maybe it's not. Look at Denzel the Equalizer. I mean, even that is not original. It was based on a 60s show. It went wildly, or an 80s show, whatever, went wildly off the theme of that.
Yeah.
But it's still based on something. Like, I love when something just, and God, not to bring this up again in the same podcast, but Elizabeth Banks' Pitch Perfect 2. Pitch Perfect was one of those. It was this little movie that the first one did okay, and then became such a huge cult following. The second one, in its opening weekend, outgrossed the first movie.
True.
In its whole run. So I love movies like that, like a Wick, that just sort of, they come from out of nowhere.
Maybe that's one reason why I mean, it's successful because people like it, obviously, but I think that's one thing that helps it grow is that for something that is original, to have a fan base that isn't based on something else is very rare these days.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
Well, and a lot of my favorite movies of the last, let's say, 5 years or whatever, are movies like that where if the fan base went in the right direction, it could have had a life for years, like Pop Star or like Dom Hemingway or or Chef, movies that are just sort of the little movies that could, because they're original and they're inventive and they're just so well done. And for whatever reason, John Wick got picked from that pile. Pitch Perfect got picked from that pile. Maybe the other ones didn't pop, but yeah, it's always very. I mean, Christ, go back to like Anchorman. Was a little movie, about nothing that Will Ferrell just kind of made up, and then had this huge life of its own.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So maybe that has something to do with it too. That Reeves is he's just that kind of guy that can generate interest in something like that.
Well, I think one of the things about Reeves too is that it seems like he's the kind of person that he is very committed when he is invested in something. Like people have been bringing it up. Like somebody said, I think it's Movies with Mikey's the channel. Check him out. He said that he says that Keanu Reeves is the hardest working man in Hollywood because I didn't know this, but in The Matrix he broke his vertebrae.
I had heard that at some point in time.
And he still continued. He wanted to train, and they wanted to give him a slower schedule, and he said no. So all that martial arts stuff he did do and learn it, and that's why if you notice the movie, I never noticed this. Everybody kicks a lot. He doesn't really kick that much.
He doesn't like to kick.
He does more movement with his arms because
that's what he could.
He was training basically paralyzed in his legs for months.
Well, and speaking of which, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I would imagine that it probably is. Just my hypothesis is he probably also puts a lot of his own work into these movies. Like I'm sure he is heavily involved in especially at this point, in the process of a Wick movie.
I think Wick is very much his movie.
I think Wick is very much his movie. And like take a Neeson in Taken, right? Mm-hmm. There's a movie that sort of came out of nowhere. It was a huge hit.
Similar, actually.
But then the sequels are all terrible.
They're awful, yeah.
Because I think Liam Neeson, as we've seen from his other recent films, just likes to collect a paycheck. Yeah. I'm sure he's a nice person, but he goes in, he says, what's the movie, what's the lines, okay, fine.
I'll get it done.
Whereas I feel like, knowing from the rumors that Reeves is such a hard worker, I would imagine that right from the green light of John Wick 2, he was like, okay, let's go to work. Let's figure out how to make 2 better than the first. And, because apparently the third one's also really good,
Yeah.
So these movies don't seem to be diminishing quality, and I think that helps somebody's stature as well.
Did you see the third one?
I haven't yet. I'm waiting for my theater to get it.
Well, okay, I'm glad I didn't tell you about it.
Don't spoil it for me.
I thought you saw it.
But I love the second one.
Oh, well, third one's very good, too.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Very good, too.
Another Wick classic.
Yep. That's right. That's why I assumed you saw it, because you announced the fourth one.
Yes, I just know the fourth one is coming out.
Well, okay, that's unfortunate because
I mean, I know he doesn't die in the third one. I guess
that was part of the thing.
Oh, okay.
That's the one spoiler is like if you didn't. Oh man, that sucks because I thought the third one was going to be the third one, and
just end as a trilogy.
Yeah,
kind of thing?
and then I'll say this: it doesn't, and I'm okay with it.
Okay,
and that's what surprised me.
Interesting.
And that's the thing. And Wick is another one where Keanu Reeves is obviously invested in the movies, giving his all, and learning all that natural stunt choreography, mostly in camera, very little CGI in those movies.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's impressive in its own.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. By the way, that one Liam Neeson movie that he did in
Walking
February.
with the Tombstones. Oh, this February.
I wanted to like that movie. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But the one he did a couple months ago. Cold Pursuit. I didn't get the chance to tell you. I actually liked it.
You did?
It wasn't bad.
Oh my god! I think I gave it like a D+. I thought it was horrible.
I thought it was enjoyable.
Okay.
Because I thought he was kind of doing a meta performance on his other movies. It was kind of like a dark comedy.
But they've all been like that lately. They're all plays on his own recent filmography.
I guess I did like
The Commuter was him on a train, but he was doing the same thing as Nonstop. I mean, they're all like that. And the acting for the supporting cast was so bad.
It was pretty bad.
It was bad.
It was pretty bad.
Everybody, don't see Cold Pursuit.
Oh, man.
Wick 3 instead.
Okay,
Parabellum.
That's definitely true. Parabellum is better. Much better.
Yeah.
But
what a cast.
It was a very, very good cast. And we know that Keanu Reeves is cool.
We know that Keanu Reeves is cool. We know Victoria Beckham's all in for the Spice Girls movie. We know Mindy Kaling is really trying to bring Ms. Marvel around.
Yeah, we know some things.
We know many things.
It's cool. So, I mean, it's been not the greatest year for movies, but there's interesting
There's been
stuff.
very few that I've really liked, to be honest, so far.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think if you see Godzilla, you might enjoy it.
Yeah, you were saying about Godzilla. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a ton of the one thing we briefly talked about off air that you wanted to hear about, I think, was Pikachu.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just say that it was okay. I took my two nephews to it.
Did they like it?
One did, one didn't. One was more on my camp because he knows less about Pokemon universe. Mm-hmm. I know very little about Pokemon. I've played Pokemon Go, so I know what some of the characters are. I know who Pikachu is. I get it. But a lot of inside stuff, and it just the plot wasn't quite there.
Huh.
It was very Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool.
I heard a lot of
PG
that.
Deadpool.
PG Deadpool.
Which is okay. A lot of sex jokes for a PG movie for sure. But I don't know. I guess because you don't see Wade's face as Deadpool and you don't see Ryan Reynolds' face as Pikachu, it's just very similar.
It just feels like Deadpool.
It just feels like Deadpool toned down a bit.
Huh.
So I had problems with it. It was okay. It was mildly enjoyable. I think I gave it a C+. It's okay.
Yeah,
but,
I was curious about it.
Yeah.
I think that was the only reason I wanted to see it is because
of him?
As Pikachu was cool.
Yeah, okay.
Like I've got a little more attachment to the series and the games a little more, but I mean I still want to see it eventually.
Oh, I think you should. Yeah,
I think I might like it, maybe a little more than you did, but I didn't think I was going to be blown away by it either.
Yeah.
All right, well that's something to think about for the future. Well, I'll have you on for another cast at some point.
Yeah, always a pleasure coming on.
We'll probably
and I'll have you on my channel, I'm sure, many times over for some Frasier and some Disney movies.
Catch up on Frasier.
Yeah.
I think Dumbo's next.
Yeah.
And maybe next time you're on here, we'll talk about some music or something.
Yes, that would be cool.
Or we'll spitball more news and see what we can get out of more developments on Spice Girls.
Yes.
Something really...
20-minute conversation based on one seed of a Spice Girls idea.
Hey, it never ceases to amaze.
Yeah.
All right, Dan. Well, I'm going to sign off.
All right.
All right.
See you guys.
Stay magical.